Okay, so I've been playing with this camera trying to get it right, and I don't think it's ever going to be right, so I just have to go with the flow. Yeah, just go with the flow. So you've already seen the title of this video. It is I Quit Two Jobs Under 1 Year, and basically the journey that God has had me on with just relinquishing control, but also separating me from the idol of work. Long story short, God has been so faithful in my life, in my short life. I am in my 30s, 32 to be specific, and hopefully you can't hear those trains back there. But I have been afforded to work for some of the greatest Christian organizations, um, the coolest roles from executive to coordinator. I've been able to travel across the world, a lot of countries throughout sub Saharan Africa, to Central America, South America, the Caribbean to do the work that I feel that the Lord has called me to. I have worked with, amazing people that I never even thought I would be able to meet. And so the Lord has been really, really faithful. Even when it comes to like my education and my background, the Lord has allowed me to study in Ghana and, get a PhD, all of these different things. Yet I was still unfulfilled in my day job. And I came to this point because I was just restless. I was super duper restless. And it's because I was not resting in the Lord. Um, a lot of my dependency was on work and what my employer could give me. And the funny thing is, I worked in the Christian international development sector. And so I was always talking about Jesus. I was always evangelizing in some way or another, either through programming or straight up just spreading the gospel. Integral mission was my life. Yet, in my own personal life, I was wrestling with God in an unhealthy way. And I would even say God was wrestling with me, and I was just pushing him to the side. Um, I came to the point of just being so tired, so depleted, so depressed, so overwhelmed, so angry, so frustrated that I literally cried out to the Lord. And I said, Lord, like I am doing all of these things. I am getting all of these opportunities. I am making change. What is happening? And the Lord basically said to me in a very still but firm, like super firm voice, you are seeing the results of what you've made your God. If you want me to be your God, then you have to let go of your other God. Because with work as your God, you are going to have the tiredness, the depletion, the frustration, the anger. But you want joy, peace, love, kindness, gentleness. You want that. But that only comes from me. That's the fruit of my spirit. You are seeing the fruit of your gods, your gods. And I say gods because of all these different roles. Like the big overarching umbrella was work, but there were different organizations that I had went to, which I just said I quit to, and it just was not working for me. The fruit of my gods, my little gods, lowercase g, which actually were big gods that I didn't realize that I had raised above the one and only God, um, were literally taking me out, y'all. Like literally taking me out. And so I said, God, what is it that I need to do to not feel this way? Because I was literally having thoughts of, if I don't wake up tomorrow, I will be fine with it. And at that point, I realized this is not a safe place to be. And this is especially not a safe place to be as one who says they know the power of God, they know the power of the living spirit. And especially a person who has seen God's restorative, redemptive, loving, reconciling hand. in their life. And I went through a season of just, God, what do I do? What do I do? Do I stay? Do I leave? And in all of that, I felt like God was silent. Like I didn't hear him. And it was only after I asked myself, what choice do you want to make? Because it was pretty simple now looking back. But when you are like, I have to pay bills, I've worked hard to get here. I do love this. What am I going to do? You kind of psych yourself out. But when it comes to literally your spirit man and your soul, um, you have to make a decision. And I had to make a decision. What do I want to be my God? Who is my God? Is it going to be work and accolades and success and money and ultimately control because that's what it was literally rooted in? Or is it going to be surrender, dependency, and trust? Because that is literally what the Lord was calling me to. And so after I resigned my first role, I literally felt like I don't even want to go back to Christian International Development. I am so over it. And it's crazy because I had built up this resume over 10 years towards, possibly becoming a CEO one day. Like that is what multiple leaders in my past that have led me personally said, like, this is where you're going, Sadira. And so I was like, I'm just going to walk away from this. I don't want this. This doesn't make me happy. It's toxic. It's beyond me. I can't handle it. And it's crazy looking back what when you make something your God will distort and twist the calling that's on your life. So jumping around here, but I left the international Christian international development sector. I said, I don't even want to do that anymore. I don't even care about that. I never have to hear about um, that sector again. And there was another opportunity that was in my hometown. God was sending me back to my hometown, leaving DC. And I said, okay, I'll try it out. And it was, still going to be international, working towards a mission, that I truly felt aligned with. And it was a role that I felt that I could do. And I said, this is something new and I want to try it. And instantly, when I began that role, I started to see where things were not going to go right. And at first, I thought, okay, it's the organization. And the organization did have a lot of issues. But I realized because of the place I was spiritually and yeah, just the place I was spiritually, that I wasn't going to make it anywhere. Like, I literally was fighting to keep my head above water. And I was so all over the place because I had made work an idol that I couldn't hear God. I couldn't be refueled by God. And I'm saying I couldn't because I didn't allow. Like I was more concerned about situations that were going on. How could I control it? How could I protect myself? How can I advocate for myself? When in reality, God wanted to do those things. And it got to a point where I just quit. And I said, God, it's just me and you. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And God basically told me, what is it that you want to do? Or asked me, what is it that you want to do? And I was like, oh my God. And I was like, I want to literally live out a life of integral mission, but I want to teach the gospel, preach the gospel, live out the gospel, walk with people, do life with people, lean into community. I want to mobilize prayer. I want to prophetically walk out and resource the kingdom, how you've called and ordained and appointed your children to do. And then God brought back to me, He was like, well, I said yes to call to intimacy. I said yes to that ministry that I wanted to gift to you. And because you had made so many other opportunities that I allowed to happen, your God, you literally didn't see that I was allowing you to live into something that would give you so much joy and purpose and passion and pleasure and freedom. And because of the pay, because of, having a 9 to 5, because of saying, I work this place and I'm doing this and I travel that place, if I'm being real with you. And so I repented and I said, okay, God, I want to do this. Like I want to focus on what's truly going to make me happy. And the Lord said, all right, well, in your personal life, you've got to start literally living this thing out in private before you are on center stage in public. Because what happens in private is only going to be heightened times 10 or a billion when you get outside. And I saw that in literally my other roles because I didn't deal with different issues, different spirits, specifically the spirit of control, the issue of control. I went into all of these environments where I possibly could have thrived, but instead I was just in survival mode. And so with launching Call to Intimacy, which you're watching right now, I've taken the time to step back and literally been unemployed for, I don't know, like 6 months, and just prayed to God, fasted, got my own prayer life together, got my own Bible study life together, got my own community together, because I could not authentically live into this publicly if I wasn't doing it personally. But I also knew that I needed to store up my piggy bank, my spiritual piggy bank, for, what's to come ahead. So it's been a weird, but such a divine time, literally relinquishing all that I know and giving it to the Lord to launch this. I even had the crazy thoughts of people are going to be like, you gave up your job to like play on YouTube all day. And I had to tell those insecurities and fears and also pride and ego to just shh. Like, this is what I want to do. I want to work in my local church. I want to serve in my local church. I want to be with God, not just do for God. I did a lot of that when I was employed with organizations. Now it's literally, I want to live into what God has for me, like what He's doing in me, so that He can work through me in whatever capacity that looks like. That doesn't mean being an executive. That doesn't mean being known or having all of these publications. It simply means like, when people encounter me, they get to encounter God because His Spirit just permeates and lives within me. And also that it means that the things that are attached to me are brought to life, they are birthed, and they are multiplied. And that is truly where I'm at in life, that I literally want to build something that God is the center of, and that the fruit of His Spirit I will get to see. And when it's all said and done, when I have to answer God, when He says, how did you steward your time, talents, and treasures, Sadira? It will be with gladness that I say, this is what I did. I didn't spend my time running the mill 9 to 5, making 6 figures so I could go on nice vacations. I love nice vacations. And I also think there's nothing wrong with the 9 to 5. But when it literally has that much control over you, or it makes your whole world upside down to where you are not thinking straight, you're not loving well, you're not worshiping well, it's time to have a reality check. And I think, or I know that's what I had to do. And so this video might have been just all over the place, and maybe I'll do a more detailed video of my journey leaving um, 2 jobs in under 1 year. But I didn't want to plan this out. I wanted it to be what I felt the Holy Spirit would have me to say, and that's it. Basically, God has to be your God. If you are a Christian, no matter what stage you are, God has to be your God, because any other thing that you make your God, lowercase g, is only a counterfeit. It is only going to kill, steal, and destroy you, because it cannot sustain itself. So it definitely cannot sustain you. And I think in combating these idols that I had, and literally moving that admiration and love and trust to the real God, my God, who's created me in his image, that wants me to thrive, that wants me to have the pursuit of happiness. I might not have a job. I might not be doing X, Y, and Z, all the extra things that I always did before, the luxuries that I had, but I have a peace that surpasses my understanding because I am basking in God's love and his grace. And that is such a powerful place and such a humbling place to be in, and such a reassuring place, like such a reassuring place. And it's been a season of wrestling with God, and not bad wrestling, like wrestling and God being so gracious to like wrestle back with me and answer me, because who am I that you are thinking of me, that you love me, but that in all your sovereignty and majesty, you literally would answer me and you would speak to me in a still but firm voice and say, I have you. I have you in the palm of my hand, and you cannot be removed unless you want to. And so I hope that you would consider subscribing to this YouTube page. I truly want to walk in community with everyone here on growing our intimacy with Christ, because I don't just believe it's for you if you watch my videos, it's also edifying and building me. And so yeah, this is the journey that I'm on. This is what I've decided to do. It's a little bit scary. It's a little bit nerve-wracking, but it feels natural, even though I don't know all the, stuff. Um, and so I'm really excited about what the Lord is going to do in this specific ministry, because when I relinquished and step into ministry in my local church, he's just blown my mind with how he's used me in that capacity. And even with the gifts and talents that I used in my day job, I still get to use those in another way with other organizations, just volunteering. And so, yeah, I'm excited. Hit the subscribe button, leave a comment for me, please, and like it so it can be promoted to other people who might, share the same desire to grow community and grow in intimacy with